I'm going to breeze over currencies. I should probably pick one really that I can talk about. I will actually go for the dollar yen at this point, if I can find it. There we are. Okay, so I'll have a drink as well before my throat burns. Okay, excellent. Wait, what was I doing? Okay, I've got this here. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Like I said, do press the like as well if you can. It's just on the left. And join us today. We're going to be live. So dollar yen I really like short on a technical basis. You've got this extraordinarily high stock oscillator, and if you look how far you've come, you've gone 1, 2, 3, and then you've got a little break, but nothing significant, and then significant moves up higher, and you're rambling, smashing into these areas of resistance, and you've got the slight change in rhetoric from both the Fed and the Bank of Japan. Now, the idea really with the Bank of Japan is that they may end the very singular negative policy rates. People will be more encouraged to save the yens, and you may see a fall. So I like it short, just slightly higher, and I think I'll have entries myself there, 14877. And I'm doing that to represent the long-term change in the market. You know, I covered the dollar yen quite in detail, and I said it being short there. I also said it being short there. That was an editor's pick in 2022. I called it short right at that point. And, you know, it's absolutely no coincidence. When you return to these areas, the same thing occurs. Okay, it happens again. It's not by chance. It's because that is as far as the Bank of Japan and the participants in the market, the larger money, were willing to take it. They're sitting there on these humongous gains on longs because they know how the Bank of Japan is operating. All right, they know people want to save dollars, not yens. They want to buy dollars instead. That's what brings it up for a sustainable period of time, and that's what allows them to gain all the value. Now, once they get to a point where they're sick of it and they've got all the money they want, they dump it, and then you get this fall. And then what happens again? Well, they rebuy it on a change in rhetoric, okay, and on a technical bias, because they know it's very, very unlikely, as you saw here, that you won't have a bounce of some degree. And that's exactly what you got now, because you've had more tentative speech from the Bank of Japan. So I really like it technically and fundamentally to the short side. You had a slight rise in inflation recently, okay, which is why you've been propped up. That's what's caused most of the movement. You've got moves coming today as well on various assets, equities coming down, and you've got, you know, dollar buying here and dollar buying across the board. US dollar index dropping. You had Canadian CPI yesterday as well. So the sentiment is definitely coming back in the market. That's why we're so active in helping all our members so carefully. But like I said, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think the momentum is completely done with this. And I much prefer it short, just slightly higher, with various DCA entries and hedge zones below. Of course, that's what we cover privately in our trading room. It's far more in depth, and I couldn't go over it in 5 minutes here. It's just too much to learn. But yeah, I'd say I'm looking short on the US dollar across the board generally, but it's reflected mostly and in the easiest form on this dollar yen. So once you get to that point, I will study my exits, and I'll look to fire off my entry to the short side, you know, for a swing entry. And ultimately gains therefore, and I'll manage that trade as I do all my trades in line with our trading plans. Okay, so I'm short your dollar yen there. Someone's going to ask me about the Swiss yen. I'm sure, just so everyone knows, if you're going to trade the Swiss yen, you need absolutely specific risk plans. You know, there's no point in trying to score, like I said before on when I went over crypto. There's no point lying to yourself saying that you're going to score this enormous home run every single time you hit the button. Okay, it could be the case that if you short here, the market keeps going up, and the problem is as well, you don't have a reference point for any resistance. You know, if I zoom out, look, there's no resistance. The last resistance is there. Okay, so you're now going off nothing basically but fundamentals. So, you know, fundamentals rule the market ultimately, but if you're doing this, you need to follow a strict risk plan. and you need to know what you're doing or you will get roasted. Okay, even if you pull back here and you don't exit, for example, and it keeps going up, you're going to struggle. So generally with yens, I like to drop my size, space things out to a really measured approach, so that I know no matter what happens, and you could have hedged all of this all the way up as we do and mitigated any loss. That's how I've survived this move. That's how I survive every move that has extended over long periods of time. Okay, you've got to have risk plans for yen specifically. All right, it's the same for everything. I mean, your ORGen, your CADJPY specifically is great for a tech zone again, because you're seeing that early rejection across the board. Okay, like you are on dollar yen at these highs. Okay, so I wouldn't be shocked really if you have a fall in yens. You had the Canadian CPI yesterday, okay, specifically for the CAD, which has brought you up. All right, so just be careful with it. But you are seeing further rejection and a sustained stock oscillator to the upside. All right, so that's a bit on FX. Like I said, for dollar,